Hey there! Thanks for stopping by once again. So earlier we checked out some potential career paths that might open up for you once you complete the program. You might also have explored the advantages of networking and building an online presence. And I want to tell you, just by being here now, you've shown you're committed. You're taking a big step in your future career. Coming up, we'll spend some time building your resume. You might already have a resume that you've used or been saving, and that's great. There's a good chance you'll still be able to use it even if you're planning to switch careers. Together, we'll find out what kinds of changes to your resume you might want to make. But before that, we'll figure out what the whole application process is like. Then we'll explore the best way to write or adjust your resume to make it as professional looking as possible and ready for your role as a data analyst. We'll also take a peek at some examples of other resumes. After that, we'll have you do a little self-analysis as we review the different types of data analyst jobs out there, so you can think about which ones might be best for you. While I'm definitely not a career counselor, we can still think of this as a kind of career counseling session. You'll get a better idea of how to build your resume while thinking about your bigger career picture at the same time. So let's get started. Hi again. Right now seems like the perfect time to take a step back from learning about data analytics, so you can get excited about what comes after you're done here. The road to finding a job can be challenging, but you're building up your skill set and learning what it takes to be a data analyst. In this video, we'll cover what you can expect from your job search, plus some tips to using your newfound skills and knowledge to make your search easier. I remember when I first started out, I reached out to as many people as I could to learn about their career paths, their companies, and their roles. I wanted to get a good idea of what to expect. And that's what we're doing now, giving you an idea of what to expect during your own job search. It's important to remember that everyone's search will be different. It might depend on where you live, what your interests are within the field, and personal preferences, like the type of work environment you feel comfortable in. This is all part of making this journey your own, as you hunt for a job that's perfect for you. The most common way to start is by checking out available jobs. There's a lot of job sites that are built specifically for people seeking employment. You can also go to company websites, where they usually post job listings too. These sites might even have an option to send you an alert when a role matching your search becomes available. Once you find a few that you like, do some research to learn more about the companies and the details about the specific positions you'll be applying for. Then you can update your resume or create a new one. You'll want it to be specific and reflect what each company is looking for, but you can definitely have a master resume that you tweak for each position. It can also help to create a spreadsheet with all of your experiences and accomplishments to help you decide what to include in your resume for each position. If you're using a professional networking site like LinkedIn, you might already have connections who can help you with your job search. Maybe you know someone who can write a referral for you, or knows of a job within their company that would suit you. And even if you don't have any luck with your connections, you can also reach out to employees of the companies you're interested in. They might be able to give you some insight on the best ways to highlight your skills and experience when applying. And it's okay if they don't write back. Keep trying. This is probably a good time to tell you of the most challenging part of a job search: hearing the word no. You'll probably hear it a lot, and that's 100% okay. It's part of everyone's experience, especially when switching career paths. People you reach out to might not be able to help you. Companies you would love to work for might not have any openings. Jobs you applied for might be filled by someone else, and that's all part of the process. The key is to stay focused. Don't get discouraged. And above all else, believe in yourself. Okay, speech over. But don't forget it, or I'll be forced to give more speeches. So back to your search. If the company you're applying to is interested, your first point of contact might be a recruiter. A recruiter might also reach out to you based on their own research. They may find your professional profile online and think you're a good match for a position. Speaking of which, that's another reason to keep building and refreshing your online profile. Recruiters are there to make sure you're a legitimate candidate for the job posted in the description. So when you talk with a recruiter, whether on the phone, online, or in person, be professional and personable. It's natural to feel nervous here, so it can help to refer back to your resume to wow them with your knowledge of the data analytics industry. And remember, recruiters are also looking for someone, and they're hoping it'll be you. Here's another tip. Using technical terms like SQL and clean data will show recruiters that you know what you're doing. Recruiters probably won't go into too much detail about the ins and outs of the job, but they want to see that you know what you're talking about. They might also give you prep materials or other recommendations. Take advantage of these because recruiters want you to do well. Next up is usually the hiring manager. This is the most important step. The hiring manager's job is to evaluate whether you have the ability to do the work and whether you'd be a good fit for their team. Your job is to convince them that yes, you do, and yes, you would be. A good thing you can do here is use LinkedIn or other professional sites to research the hiring managers or even other analysts who have a similar role to the one you're applying for. The more information you have about the job, the better your chances of actually getting it. You should also use this opportunity to ask lots of questions to help you figure out if the company's a good fit for you. You can do this when you talk to recruiters, too. Now, if the hiring manager sees you as a fit, it's very possible you'll have at least one more interview. The point of these interviews is to give your future stakeholders and teammates a chance to decide if you're the best candidate for the position. The next step is the best step. If all goes well, you'll get an official offer. Usually by phone first and maybe followed by an official letter. At this point, feel free to celebrate, call everyone, and celebrate some more. But even if it's your dream job, make sure it's a competitive offer before you sign. Remember, if they reach out to you with an offer, that means they want you as much as you want them. If you're interviewing at other places, you can leverage this to figure out if negotiating for a more competitive offer is possible. You should also research salaries, benefits, vacation time, and any other factors that are important to you for similar jobs. If you can show specific research like company X gives Y amount more for the same role, there's usually some room to negotiate your salary, vacation days, or something else. Keep in mind, you'll need to find a balance between what you want, what they want to give you, and what's fair. So know your own worth, but also understand that the company hiring you has already placed a certain value on your role. Okay, let's say that everything works out, and you're happy with the negotiated deal and excited to join your new team. Even then, hit pause and give yourself at least 2 weeks before you officially start. Why? Well, if you're already employed somewhere else during your job search, it's customary and polite to give at least a 2-week notice at your old job before starting at the new one. Plus, it's good to give yourself a break before starting your exciting new adventure. You've earned it. By now, you should have a pretty good idea of what to expect when you start your data analyst job search. Coming up, we'll talk more about building your resume. See you in the next video. Great, you're back. When you take a picture, you usually try to capture lots of different things in one image. Maybe you're taking a picture of the sunset and want to capture the clouds, the tree line, and the mountains. Basically, you want a snapshot of that entire moment. You can think of building your resume in the same way. You want your resume to be a snapshot of all that you've done both in school and professionally. In this video, we'll go through the process of building a resume, which you'll be able to add your own details to. Keep in mind this is a snapshot. So when managers and recruiters look at what you've included in your resume, they should be able to tell right away what you can offer their company. The key here is to be brief. Try to keep everything in one page and each description to just a few bullet points. 2 to 4 bullet points is enough, but remember to keep your bullet points concise. Sticking to one page will help you stay focused on the details that best reflect who you are or who you want to be professionally. One page might also be all that hiring managers and recruiters have time to look at. They're busy people, so you want to get their attention with your resume as quickly as possible. Now let's talk about actually building your resume. This is where templates come in. They're a great way to build a brand new resume or reformat one you already have. Programs like Microsoft Word or Google Docs, and even some job search websites, all have templates you can use. A template has placeholders for the information you'll need to enter and its own design elements to make your resume look inviting. You'll have a chance to explore this option a little later. For now, we'll go through the steps you can take to make your resume professional, easy to read, and error-free. If you already have a resume document, you can use these steps to tweak it. Now, there's more than one way to build a resume, but most have contact information at the top of the document. This includes your name, address, phone number, and email address. If you have multiple email addresses or phone numbers, use the ones that are most reliable and sound professional. It's also great if you can use your first and last name in your email address, like janedoe17@email.com. You should also make sure that your contact information matches the details that you've included on professional websites. And while most resumes have contact information in the same place, it's up to you on how you organize that info. A format that focuses more on skills and qualifications and less on work history is great for people who have gaps in their work history. It's also good for those who are just starting out their career or making a career change. And that might be you. If you do want to highlight your work history, feel free to include details of your work experience, starting with your most recent job. If you have lots of jobs that are related to a new position you're applying for, this format makes sense. If you're editing a resume you already have, you can keep it in the same format and adjust the details. If you're starting a new one or building a resume for the first time, choose the format that makes the most sense for you. There's lots of resume resources online. You should browse through a bunch of different resumes to get an idea of the formats you think works best for you. Once you've decided on your format, you can start adding your details. Some resumes begin with the summary, but this is optional. A summary can be helpful if you have experience that is not traditional for a data analyst, or if you're making a career transition. If you decide to include a summary, keep it to 1 or 2 sentences that highlight your strengths and how you can help the company you're applying to. You'll also want to make sure your summary includes positive words about yourself, like dedicated and proactive. You can support those words with data like the number of years you've worked or the tools you're experienced in, like SQL and spreadsheets. A summary might start off with something like hardworking customer service representative with over 5 years of experience. And once you've completed this program and have your certificate, you'll be able to include that too, which could sound like this. Entry-level data analytics professional. Recently completed the Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Another option is leaving a placeholder for your summary while you build the rest of your resume, and then writing it after you finish the other sections. This way, you can review the skills and experience you've mentioned and grab 2 or 3 of the highlights to use in your summary. It's also good to note that the summary might change a little as you apply for different jobs. If you're including a work experience section, there's lots of different types of experience you could add. Outside of jobs with other companies, you could also include volunteer positions you've had and any freelance or side work you've done. The key here is the way in which you describe these experiences. Try to describe the work you did in a way that relates to the position you're applying for. Most job descriptions have minimum qualifications or requirements listed. These are the experiences, skills, and education you'll need to be considered for the job. So it's important to clearly state them in your resume. If you're a good match, the next step is checking out preferred qualifications, which lots of job descriptions also include. These aren't required, but every additional qualification you match makes you a more competitive candidate for the role. Including any part of your skills and experience that matches a job description will help your resume rise above the competition. So if a job listing describes a job responsibility as effectively managing data resources, you'll want to have your own description that reflects that responsibility. For example, if you volunteered or worked at a local school or community center, you might say that you effectively manage resources for after-school activities. Later on, you'll learn more ways to make your work history work for you. It's helpful to describe your skills and qualifications in the same way. For example, if a listing talks about organization and partnering with others, try to think about relevant experiences you've had. Maybe you've helped organize the food drive or partnered with someone to start an online business. In your descriptions, you want to highlight the impact you've had in your role, as well as the impact the role had on you. If you helped a business get started or reach new heights, talk about that experience and how you played a part in it. Or if you worked at a store when it first opened, you can say that you helped launch the successful business by ensuring quality customer service. If you use data analytics in any of your jobs, you'll definitely want to include that as well. We'll cover how to add specific data analysis skills a little bit later. One way to do this is to follow a formula in your descriptions. Accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. Here's an example of how this might read on a resume. Selected as one of 275 participants nationwide for this 12-month professional development program for high-achieving talent based on leadership potential and academic success. And if you've gained new skills in one of your experiences, be sure to highlight them all and how they helped. This is probably as good a spot as any to bring up data analytics. Even if this program is the first time you really thought about data analytics, now that you're equipped with some knowledge, you'll want to use that to your benefit. So if you've ever managed money, maybe that means you helped a business analyze future earnings, or maybe you created a budget based on your analysis of previous spending. Even if it was for your own or a friend's small business, it's still data that you've analyzed. Now you can reflect on when and how and use it in your resume. After you've added work experience and skills, you should include a section for any education you've completed. And yes, this course absolutely counts. You can add this course as part of your education, and you can also refer to it in your summary and skills sections. Depending on the format of your resume, you might want to add a section for technical skills you've acquired, both in this course and elsewhere. Besides technical skills like SQL, you could also include language proficiencies in this section. Having some ability in a language other than English can only help your job search. So now you have an idea of how to make your resume look professional and appealing. As you move forward, you'll learn even more about how to make your resume shine. By the end, you'll have a resume you can be proud of. Next up, we'll talk about how to make your resume truly unique. See you soon! Great to see you again! Building a strong resume is a great way to find success in your job hunt. You've had the chance to start building your resume, and now we'll take the next step by showing you how to refine your resume for data analytics jobs. Let's get started. For data analysts, one of the most important things your resume should do is show that you're a clear communicator. Companies looking for analysts want to know that the people they hire can do the analysis, but also can explain it to any audience in a clear and direct way. Your first audience as a data analyst will most likely be hiring managers and recruiters. So being direct and coherent in your resume will go a long way with them as well. Let's start with the summary section. While you won't go into too much detail in this section about any of your work experiences, it's a good spot to point out if you're transitioning into a new career role. You might add something like transitioning from a career in the auto industry and seeking a full-time role in the field of data analytics. One strategy you can use in your summary and throughout your resume is PAR, or PAR statements. PAR stands for Problem, Action, Result. This is a great way to help you write clearly and concisely. So instead of saying something like, was responsible for writing 2 blogs a month, you'd say, earned little-known website over 2,000 new clicks through strategic blogging. The website being little-known is the problem. The strategic action is the strategic blogging, and the result is the 2,000 new clicks. Adding PAR statements to your job descriptions or skills section can help with the organization and consistency in your resume. They definitely helped me when I changed jobs. Speaking of the skills section, make sure you include any skills and qualifications you've acquired through this course and on your own. You don't need to be super technical, but talking about your experience with spreadsheets, SQL, Tableau, and R, which is a programming language that we'll get to later, will enhance your resume and your chances of getting a job. So if you're listing qualifications or skills, you might include a spot for programming languages and then list SQL and R, which are both a part of the Google Data Analytics certificate. You might even add in the top functions, packages, or formulas that you're comfortable with in each. It also makes sense to include skills you've acquired in spreadsheets like pivot tables. Pivot tables, SQL, R, and lots of other terms we covered here might get you noticed by hiring managers and recruiters. But you definitely want your resume to accurately represent your skills and abilities. So only add these skills after you've completed the certificate. Once you start applying the ideas we talked about here to your resume, you'll be well on your way to setting yourself apart from other candidates. And after you've completed your final course, you'll have the opportunity to complete a case study and link it on your resume. This will be a great opportunity to show recruiters and hiring managers the skills you've learned while earning your certificate. Before you know it, you'll have a pretty great resume that you can update quickly whenever you're searching for a data analyst job. Nothing wrong with that. Up next, we'll talk more about adding experience to your resume. Bye for now.
Hello, my name is Joseph. I'm a people analyst at Google. As a people analyst, my job is to work with executives and HR business partners to use data to make informed people decisions. Inclusion is very essential to the work that we do. As you know, sometimes you can tell a story with data and have your own bias in it. So for us in this field that is very sensitive, it requires that we have a diverse set of people who have different backgrounds to have this lens of data to it. So being a Black professional, I can better tell a story about people of color that is a lot more personal to me. Being an analyst, it requires me to take data and tell a story with it. On a personal standpoint, I'm very passionate about this space of increasing representation in the tech industry. For example, outside of work, I run a nonprofit called Sankofa Tech, and our whole goal is essentially to help develop the next generation of Black engineers who can essentially be in this field and represent our experience using data as a foundation and also technology as the powering moving factor going forward. And it's critical that we have more Black people in the technology sector. As you all know, the next 10, 20 years, AI and machine learning will be like just speaking English in this country or even the entire world. So the more we can have more Black people in this field, the more we can represent it in the products that are being built, and the more that our experiences are being influenced in every single product that these companies do build. So definitely critical that we have more Black engineers, we have more Black data scientists to do the analysis, and also just Black data analysts to help tell a story that's more inclusive of our experience as well. So it's definitely essential that we do have people from different backgrounds, color, creed, to really understand data and have the lens to it and tell the story and make it very personal to our audience.
Welcome back. Everyone out there has their own personal work history. We all started somewhere, whether part-time or full-time. What matters for your resume is how you present the work you've done. In this video, we'll hone in on work history and how you can translate yours effectively for your data analyst resume. If you don't have a specific section for work history in your resume, that's okay. You can use the same basic ideas to adjust your skills and qualifications section. The good news is that you already have a lot of the skills that recruiters and hiring agents look for when they hire data analysts. You've probably used lots of them in previous jobs. We call these transferable skills. Transferable skills are skills and qualities that can transfer from one job or industry to another. So think about all the positions you've held: associate, owner, team member, manager, and how they might be used as a data analyst. Let's start with the big one that we talked about before: communication. When job descriptions say they want strong communication skills for a data analyst, it usually means they want someone who can speak about what they do to people who aren't as technical or analytical. If someone who's not familiar with data analytics can understand what you're talking about when you try to explain it to them, your communication skills are usually good to go. You've probably had to communicate in other jobs you've had, whether with employees, customers or clients, team members, or managers. You might have had to give presentations too, whether formal or informal. In your work history section, you can highlight how your effective communication skills have helped you. You can also refer to specific presentations you've made and the outcomes of those presentations. And you can even include the audience for your presentations, especially if you presented to large groups or people in senior positions. After listing job details like the place and length of employment, you might add something like effectively implemented and communicated daily workflow to fellow team members, resulting in an increase in productivity. Here you change the details based on the work you did. Since you'll be working in the world of data, including any quantitative data would be ideal. For example, the increase in productivity might have been a 15% increase. As long as you have a way to back up your data, hopefully with more data, then you can put it in your resume. This example brings us to the next transferable skill. Data analysts are problem solvers. When problems arise in a database or lines of code, data analysts need to be able to find and troubleshoot the problem. If you have no prior experience working with data, you can still talk about your problem-solving skills. That last example we shared does a great job of showing an ability to problem solve. It's actually written as a PAR, or problem action result statement, which we talked about earlier. So the problem is that the daily workflow procedures were not in place. The action is that you put the procedures into effect and communicated them to your team. And the result is that productivity increased by 15%. This makes it clear that there was a problem and you solved it. We can also use the statement to point out teamwork as an important quality to bring to the data analyst world. While you might have plenty of work to do on your own, it'll always be for the benefit of the team. Team means not only the data team you're a part of, but the whole company as well. So that's a few skills you can add to your work experience and skills and qualifications sections. All of these are known as soft skills. Soft skills are non-technical traits and behaviors that relate to how you work. Being detail-oriented and demonstrating perseverance are two more examples of soft skills that anyone hiring a data analyst will look for. Companies want to know that you will do your analysis carefully and to completion, no matter what setbacks you might face along the way. If you worked at a retail job, you can talk about how your attention to detail helped you find discrepancy while handling a high volume of money. And you could add how you continue to practice customer service at a high level, despite a high turnover rate at the management level. These are just some examples to think about and apply to your work details. Take a moment and think back to your last job, or maybe it's your current job. What soft skills do you use to find success? Are you starting to understand how those are transferable to the world of data analytics? Using PAR statements and focusing on your transferable soft skills can really add to the power of your resume. So now you can keep powering on to the next step to continue learning about the data analytics field and your future job in it. See you in the next video.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm a senior product analyst at Google. I have always been perhaps an annoyingly curious person. Even as a child, I remember I would take things apart just to see how they worked. I just love seeing how things work together. And I love asking new questions. I love having more information. I think that makes me a more well-rounded person and definitely a better analyst. Every step in my career, including the first step in the Army, I kind of always picked at what I could in terms of trying to self-teach on things like databases and things like data. One of my first forays into data was, I had been deployed, and when I came back, I worked with a personnel office, and we had to do things like track where everybody was and what their pay was and their rank, and if they were getting awards. And there wasn't a single system to work through in that. And so I used an Access database. It took me forever to learn what a foreign key was and what a primary key was. And I will be totally honest, I did really poorly. I ended up going back to Excel, but it was a really good learning experience. After my time in the Army, I didn't really have a sense of what I wanted to do. I had been doing personnel, but I really did still enjoy the technology piece. And I somehow spun my Army career into logistics and got a job doing logistics for what they call the Roundhouse. It's where they work on the locomotive engines. I did a lot of database maintenance. So when I left the railroad, I went to a welding company where I started out as a logistics person working on trucks and truck parts. But then I was able to transition into kind of a more database, data-focused role. After my time at the welding company, I was kind of ready to try something a lot more technical. I actually ended up working for a small consulting firm that was very boutique-y and did a lot of work with Tableau. where we started to work with companies and taught them how to do data visualization. I did Tableau training for a while. But really, I was there for over 6 years. And through my time there, I did database engineering. I did data engineering. I got to run a team of analysts. I got to teach people how to do consulting. There was a lot of growth for me in that 6-year time period. After that, I decided to come to Google. I get to work with stakeholders on translations throughout the Google world. So if anybody wants to translate something from one language to another, I get to work on the analytics of that. So that means that if you take 500 different languages or 40 different languages, what does it cost? How many words do we translate? What does that translation quality look like? If I look back on my career, I would have told myself 5-10 years ago to focus on something. Don't try to feel too overwhelmed. The important thing to be able to do is to be able to ask the right question and know how to answer it. I have confidence. Confidence is really important because people are coming to me for answers. That's my job, is to think really hard about the questions and give them answers that make them better and make the company better. The fact that I know that I can do this now that I've put that kind of time and effort into it, it's really, really rewarding.
Hello. So if you haven't done a search for a data analyst job yet, give it a try. One thing you might notice is how many variations of data analyst jobs there are. You'll find some that just say data analyst in the job title, and others that include more details like market research analyst and digital data analyst. This variety is a good thing. It means that as a data analyst, you'll have a pretty wide range of job opportunities available. So while you might not be the right fit for every position that's posted, every position that's posted might not be the right fit for you. As you continue moving forward, it's important to keep your own interests in mind. There might be certain topics that we've covered or will cover that you find yourself especially interested in. When you're job hunting, you might want to tailor your search to find jobs that are focused on or include your areas of interest. For example, if a job description lists data cleaning as a job responsibility, and you think that you'd really enjoy that process, you could make that job your top priority. At the same time, think about your other interests. If you have a background in retail or medicine or finance, and have had a good experience with it, you might apply for jobs that match your background. As an added bonus, your experience will look great on your resume. But it's also okay to search for jobs in an area of personal interest where you have no professional experience. If you've always loved cars, check out what positions the auto industry has. If you're fascinated by how utility companies work, hunt for jobs in the energy and utilities industry. Finding a job is great. Finding a job you love is even better. Always keep in mind that data analytics is constantly evolving within lots of different industries. So job titles and hiring needs might also change. But the opportunities, no matter what they are when you're searching, will be there. So now let's preview some of the many kinds of data analyst jobs that are out there. The certificate you earn here will be most applicable to junior or associate data analyst positions. But that doesn't mean you have to limit your job search to only postings for junior or associate analysts. Job titles come in all shapes and sizes. New analysts work in a wide range of industries. Healthcare analysts gather and interpret data from sources like electronic health records and patient surveys. Their work helps organizations improve the quality of their care. Healthcare analysts might also look for ways to lower the cost of care and improve patient experience. Data analysts in marketing complete quantitative and qualitative market analysis. They identify important statistics and interpret and present their findings to help stakeholders understand the data behind their marketing strategies. Business intelligence analysts help companies use data they've collected to increase their efficiency and maximize their profits. These analysts usually work with large amounts of data to identify trends and generate business insights. Financial analysts also work with lots of data. Really, all analysts do. But financial analysts use the data to identify and potentially recommend business and investment opportunities. If you're a junior analyst in this field, you'll probably start off doing a lot of data gathering and financial modeling as well as spreadsheet maintenance. This is just a small taste of the types of data analyst jobs out there. Each type we've covered can branch out into other industries as well. For example, business intelligence analysts can work in healthcare, government, e-commerce, and more. It's exciting to think about the possibilities. There's more work for you to do, of course, but there's nothing wrong with looking ahead. And when you get to that place you're looking ahead to, you'll be able to take charge and find the best job for you. For the time being, we'll keep exploring your resume. See you soon. Congrats! You've made it to the end of this course. That means it's time for your next course challenge. We've covered data integrity and how to test your data to ensure that integrity, how to clean dirty data in both a spreadsheet and SQL, and how to verify and report your cleaning results. So go ahead and show off what you learned. You can do it. Great job on finishing this course. You've covered a lot of ground already and learned so much. There's only one thing left to do. Keep going. But if you ever need to check back on what you've learned, these videos will still be available to you. Right now, I'm excited for you to meet your instructor for the next course, Ayana. She's ready to guide you through the next part of the program as you continue in your journey to becoming a data analyst. You've learned how to prepare and process data, and in the next course, Ayana will show you how to analyze it. We'll explore how to make sense of all the data you've collected and cleaned, and you'll learn how to ask the right questions and use data to find answers. We'll also show you how to organize and format the data once again, so it's completely ready for analysis. We'll talk about aggregation and joins, two processes that allow you to gather all the data you need and summarize it for your stakeholders. Both spreadsheets and SQL will make an appearance too. We'll give you some more practice with using them for calculations, and we'll explain how temporary tables in SQL work. Awesome job so far, and best of luck on what's next.
Thank you for watching our video. We hope you found it helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, please share it with them. We would love to hear your thoughts on this learning course, so please leave a comment below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.